My name's Adam Lamb. I am the Head of Learning Area for Languages at Mossbourne Community Academy in Hackney in East London. I've also been a lead practitioner school-wide. I've also worked in Gateshead in Tyne and Wear for a few years as well. And I came into teaching about 10 years ago. I had a conversation with my then line manager, Gavin Palmer, and I think we have line management and performance management, and often it's centred on results and the results analysis, and you get caught up in the numbers. But he actually set me a target, and it was to engage with external CPD. And I remember thinking at the time, what does that mean? Because it's such a open-ended target, and I know what he was trying to do, just get me to look outwards rather than inwards within the academy itself. So I evaluated different programs. I looked at doing my master's degree at that time. I also looked at MPQs, and I looked at chartered status. And when I looked at the chartered teacher status, it was very focused on my own practice, getting me to engage with some of the more difficult questions. So I decided to choose the chartered teacher route for that reason. Brilliant choice. It was well worth the money, and also it allowed me to really take ownership of my own development. And my boss also decided to choose the chartered leader route at the same time. So we were both completing the chartered accreditation, one of us for teaching, one of us for leadership. At the same time, it was nice having those professional conversations. So it gave us a different dynamic as well at our line management meetings as well. So it was fantastic, really, really good. The reason why we decided it was a good pathway was because it really gave me ownership of my research and ownership of my own professional development. And when we actually looked at the course ourselves, he thought, I want this as well for my leadership development. I was at that time applying to be head of faculty, having been a lead practitioner school-wide, and he was making his first steps as becoming an assistant vice principal, looking to become a vice principal in the future. So we both looked at the course and we thought, actually, there's a lot of parallels here in what we need to do. It covers a lot of different elements as well, so you're not just looking at prescribed elements. When you're looking at research, you're looking at there's modules on assessment, there's modules on investigating your own practice, on practitioner inquiry, there's modules on how to give feedback as well, which I'm looking at myself becoming a little middle leader and himself becoming a senior leader. It was all material that was essential for what we wanted to do and what was going to support us really well in our career development. And also it really changed our dynamic, and it was interesting having those conversations as well. How's your practitioner inquiry going? Oh, well, I've got this set of data at the minute. I'm trying to access this. This is the data I'm looking at. I'm looking at our results for the students, and this is how I'm planning on mashing them down to get my outcomes, to test my hypothesis to see if it works or not. And at the same time, he was doing the same, but looking at CPD for the staff body. So it was interesting, me engaging with his senior leadership side of his role as well. So me learning what he did in that aspect, but also him taking a real interest in my research and what impact it was having on my classes. And we're both modern foreign language teachers as well. So there was a lot of the learning that I learned that he could take into his practice as well. So it was interesting. So it sets me up at those conversations if I ever wanted to go into senior leadership, to be able to understand a little bit more about senior leadership roles, and at the same time for him and his subject pedagogy, it's something else for him and considered by him having that conversation, asking me about my practitioner inquiry. So it was really mutually beneficial for both of us. The thing I enjoyed most about the chartered teacher pathway, I think, was having the self-study groups and having a support network around us. Having this network of people around you to support you in your development, finding out what they were looking into as well, I think that was really important. The other thing I really enjoyed was engaging with research, but not just having research spoon-fed to you. I think a lot of schools are spoon-feeding research, but not allowing the staff body to maybe question the research base or to really evaluate, right, this is the piece of research, this is what it says, but will it actually have effect in my setting and with my students in front of me? I work in a comprehensive school in East London. That's going to look very, very different to a private school, for instance, in the leafy suburbs. And I think having that opportunity to question research bases as well is really important. We did a module on assessment and assessment constructs, and a lot of the time, especially as middle leaders, you're asked to give assessments, but you never really consider the why. And you look at assessment construct, and it really worked in parallel with the work I was doing at the time, which was to reconstruct assessment for Key Stage 3, to reflect on, to evaluate what the students had learned and to see the gaps. So looking at things such as assessment construct and am I actually testing the things that we're covering in the curriculum? I don't think I would have done that reading had that module not been included. So it really opened my eyes a lot to assessment and how do we effectively assess learning. If you look at master's degrees, they're a lot more expensive, and I just think everything that you do is self-guided somewhat in the chartered status, in the chartered pathway, and I think that's really important. You get a lot more ownership, and it's a lot more practical and a lot more relevant. If you wanted to guide your own development, it's well worth the money. And it's also worth asking your school, is there a little bit of the CPD budget that you could have to do that and explore those routes as well? See if you can get some funding maybe from the school to help you out with that. And it's good for them because it's teacher retention, isn't it? If they give you a little bit of money towards it and they keep you for an extra 2 years, it's going to keep both sides happy. So I think it's worth having that conversation as well. And having seen the outcomes of my students in their reading exams, which my research was based on, and seeing that evidence in front of me that it had impact, it was worth the money for the students. I think it was also worth the money in terms of just the contact. If I ever had a question or a query, you didn't feel that you were being looked down upon. You felt really supported by the team as well, and you really feel part of something bigger being part of the chartered college as well, and following the chartered teacher status and the sense of community. It's really, really worth it, I think. It's already impacted my career in terms of, I used to be part of the teach and learn team. I moved away from that, and since I've become chartered, I've been asked to participate in whole school insight on the first day back. We now have a legacy of the school now funding people through their chartered teacher status and being able to come to the front and really sell it, to just pass the baton on to a new generation of teachers who want to improve their practice through an evidence base is fantastic. I think if I'm applying for senior leadership roles as well, especially I want to go down the teaching and learning route, it's a professional qualification. I think having that chartered teacher, having the chartered college behind you as well, being affiliated to such an organisation, I think it has some real impact behind it, especially when you're applying to move up. I would 100% recommend it to friends and colleagues. The reason why I think there's a lot of prescription in CPD, and there is a certain element, don't get me wrong, there's fundamentals that you have to cover in the chartered college, but I think they get the balance right between what you need to cover and also giving you free rein to look into your own practice.